Belonging improves performance. Here's something you might not realize. How you feel about your team and coaches affects how well you play. Not in some vague, touchy-feely way, but in real, measurable performance outcomes. When you trust your coaches and feel connected to your teammates, when you feel like you belong, you play better, you learn faster, you enjoy it more, you're more resilient. When you don't feel that trust and connection, everything becomes harder. Your brain is constantly monitoring, usually below your awareness. Am I safe here? Do these people have my back? Do I belong? When your brain answers yes, I trust these people, I belong here, it stays in an optimal state for learning and performance. You can focus on the task, you can take risks, you can be creative. When your brain answers no, I'm not sure if I'm accepted here, it shifts into a defensive state. Now part of your energy is going toward monitoring social threats, managing anxiety about fitting in. That's energy not available for actually playing. Remember what we talked about with mistakes being data? That only really works if you're in an environment where mistakes are safe. If you're afraid your coach will yell at you or your teammates will judge you for messing up, you can't treat errors as learning opportunities. You're too busy managing your anxiety. And think back to what we discussed about fun being a performance strategy. You can't have fun if you're worried about whether you belong, whether people have your back, whether you're going to be criticized or excluded. So trust and belonging aren't just about feeling good. They're about creating the conditions where you can actually develop and perform. Let me describe what it feels like when trust is present versus when it isn't, and you can reflect on what your experience is. When trust is present, you feel comfortable asking questions without worrying about looking dumb. You can make mistakes without fear of harsh judgment. You know your coach is trying to help you get better, even when the feedback is tough. You feel like your teammates want you to succeed. There's a sense of, we're in this together. When trust isn't present, you're constantly second-guessing. You hold back from trying new things because you're afraid of messing up publicly. You don't feel safe being honest about what you're struggling with. You sense competition within the team rather than collaboration. There's a feeling of walking on eggshells. Neither of these is a judgment. It's just about noticing what your actual experience is. Because here's the thing, if you're in an environment where trust and belonging exist, that's valuable. Protect it. Contribute to it. Recognize that you're in a situation that's going to help you develop. But if you're in an environment where trust doesn't exist, that's important information. You might need to work on building it. You might need to find it elsewhere. Or you might need to recognize that this environment isn't serving your development. So how do you build trust with coaches? Start by understanding what coaches are actually looking for. Most coaches aren't looking for athletes who never make mistakes or who know everything. They're looking for athletes who are coachable, who listen, who try to apply feedback, who show they want to learn. Being coachable doesn't mean you're passive or that you never ask questions. It means when your coach gives you feedback, you genuinely consider it and try to work with it, even if you don't totally agree. It means you show respect, not by being silent and obedient, but by treating your coach like someone who's there to help you improve. And it means you understand your coach has to think about the whole team, not just you. Sometimes you might not get the playing time you want, or the attention you think you deserve. That doesn't necessarily mean your coach doesn't care about you. It might just mean they're making decisions for the team. If you do have a real problem or concern, talking to your coach directly shows maturity. Not complaining to parents or teammates, but actually having a conversation with the person who can do something about it. That builds trust. It shows you're taking ownership of your experience. Now, with teammates, trust gets built through actions more than words. Think about the athletes on your team who you trust the most. What do they do that builds that trust? Probably things like, they work hard, so you know they care about the team. They support you even when things aren't going their way. They celebrate your success without jealousy. They communicate honestly. They show up reliably. They make the team better, not just themselves better. You can be that person. You can be the teammate who builds trust.
And here's something important. You don't need to be best friends with everyone to have good team chemistry. You just need to trust that you're all working toward the same goal and that you have each other's backs when it matters. Tune in for part 2, where we'll talk about what to do when you don't feel like you belong, how to handle trust issues with coaches or teammates, and why these relationships might matter more than you realize for your long-term development.